Hello, friends and beautiful people. It's Kathryn Michelle. How's it going? This is Global Reorganization for Ascension, Part 2. If you didn't watch the first one the other day, what I'm going to do right now is, hey, Krystal, is put the link for Part 1 up. And in order to give you some reference for what I'm talking about here, I recommend watching Part 1. This is for someone like me who really loves helping people wake up. I am super geeking out on all this energy. Maybe some of you aren't feeling that for yourselves, but I'm definitely feeling it for myself, because in this time of being able to pull back, call it self-quarantine, I call it self-reflection, I call it more time to geek out on the stuff I already love to do. This has really provided me a lot of insight and wisdom into the deeper things that are going on. While everyone is focusing on what is being sacrificed and what is being lost, I am like feeding off of that energy in a frenzy, and I'm saying, okay, well, I'm going to take this energy, because that's a lot of energy. The people who are focused on the fear and the loss and whatever, energy is energy. And that hyper focus of energy, I'm just kind of taking it over here and collectively harnessing it and saying, well, I'm going to look at what is being gained. And I wouldn't be worth my weight in salt as a healer, thought leader, way shower if I wasn't doing that. So you're welcome. Sorry, I don't mean to be cocky. I'm just fired up. So this is really exciting stuff. So I invite you to listen from the heart. Again, you know, I'm going to be saying this a lot lately in the videos that I'm bringing you, that you take from this what you will, take from this what makes sense, take from this what resonates, and leave the rest, okay? And so I want to put up here the link for Global Reorganization for Ascension Part 1. And when I talked about that last time, I was talking about reframing this entire situation of what's going on, the intensity of energy on the planet right now, reframing this as a massive reactivation for all of humanity, for a massive, high-intensity, spiritual, energetic activation. But what are we actually activating to? And what we are activating to is more of our monadic body. And I'm going to explain what that is. But how that looks and how that shakes out in our everyday reality, it means that your bullshit detector is on high alert. Okay, you're starting to see more truth because you're resonating with more of the frequency of truth, particularly your soul's truth, more than you ever have before. Okay? The monad embodiment has a lot to do with integration of your soul bodies coming back in and feeding more of the crystalline body structure, literally your divine human embodiment and way of being. The seeds that are already in this physical body, because they've been planted by the etheric divine human embodiment of you, are starting to bloom. They're starting to blossom, okay? This is the monadic embodiment, and this is happening. This can't be happening unless something falls away to make room for this embodiment, because it's big. Energetically, it takes up a lot of space and energy, and it's really interesting that as I'm talking about this now, I don't have a Facebook feed on my desktop computer. Interesting. So I can't post the link because I can't see that on my desktop. So I keep trying to connect to Facebook and it won't let me. I can't even see myself live. So if I don't see who's here and don't say hello, hi Becky, hi Vicky, hi Svetlana, I think Katrina is here, I think Samantha's here, I think Scott is here. Hi, Tammy, Victoria, Krystal, hello everybody. So this takes up a lot of space energetically, okay? And there is a give and take of energy that is on a very, very accelerated scale right now. We are like whoosh, we are moving through the ascension pathway in very elevated and accelerated stations of awareness. This is happening. So what I'm here to share with you guys when I share these videos, especially when I talk about global reorganization for Ascension, I'm going to be talking about bigger picture stuff. I'm not going to focus on what's leaving or what's going away. I'm talking about what's coming in. So if you're ready for some good news, stay tuned to this space, watch this video, because that's what I'm keenly aware of and focused on in my work at the moment. So in part 1 of Global Reorganization for Ascension, which for whatever reason, I cannot post it right now. Interesting. I talked about this period being one of a very high intensity spiritual energetic awakening, a spiritual energetic activation for all of mankind. Okay, so if we reframe it of what's going on right now, think about it that way, it feels bigger, it feels more filled with purpose and more filled with divine destiny rather than what we're fated to or what we're stuck with, right? This is what's happening as this particular station. We're in this station right now. It is evolving as we speak, which is very exciting. This monad embodiment, okay? For those of you that don't know what that means, a real quick and simple way of explaining that would be we're accessing an evolved consciousness corridor, okay? We're right in the middle of it right now. So this creates a lot of excitement. But whenever we experience excitement as human beings, it can also trigger a high stress response. So while this is happening with the coronavirus pandemic and all the ensuing panic, anxiety, and worry that's on the planet right now, there is a triggering through this energy of a lot of false paradigms, false structures of the machinery, the architecture of the false ascension matrix falling away, a lot of timelines around that falling away. This collapsing is creating room for this monadic embodiment to take hold. There always has to be that give and exchange, that give and take, that exchange of energy. It's commerce. Energy is the commerce of the universe. So in order to embody something great, we must lose something great. And we definitely are. And I mean great, not in as it's great for humanity in terms of for our highest and best good. I mean great in terms of scale. Okay? So the scale of an outmoded, outdated series of structures, paradigms, etc. is leaving the planet en masse. But this is triggering naturally, if you're in most of your waking day in a survival mode, ego identity state of consciousness, you're going to feel the fear of this, and it's going to be ramped up to DEFCON 5. You're just going to feel like biting your fingers all the time and, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's going to be your constant waking state of reality. But if you're constantly shifting into your higher self awareness, the bigger picture awareness, which is what I'm here to shed a light on, you will feel this embodiment in ways that are going to be quite startling for you in a good way, okay? So that we are in a high stress state right now because of what's moving out on a grand scale, but what's coming in on a big scale. Because on a physical body level, anything new is going to feel unfamiliar. Anything unknown is going to feel like, this isn't my normal. This isn't my everyday normal experience. So we can put ourselves in a place of panic or fight or flight, okay? But if this will only happen if you are not switching off or unhooking from your ego identity. This will always create fear of the unknown and expectation of the worst type scenarios and survival responses, okay? But only because it is new to you in this particular human incarnation. This level of awakening is not new to you in your other embodiments and other timelines where you are a more evolved consciousness being. And yes, you are existing somewhere as a consciousness being in an elevated state somewhere else in another timeline. And what this monadic embodiment is doing is it's harnessing that soul body, let's just say thread or threads, because there's many threads of the soul body coming in, uniting you with moving into the next octave of the harmonic universe. And that is entirely what Ascension is about, is moving the collective of humanity into the next octave of the harmonic universe, okay? Call it 5D, call it 6D, 7D. The monadic embodiment is moving into more of the awareness beyond 5D, though. It's even beyond 6D. It's going into the 7th, 8th, 9D layers of your soul embodiment. This is very exciting, and this is happening right now. So this is a station of transit of ascension, our ascension pathway, our natural, true, organic ascension matrix pathway. And it can only exist because these old timelines, these old paradigms and structures that are no longer serving humanity, I'm so excited I can't speak, are dissolving and disintegrating right before our eyes. If you're looking from the higher self vantage point of view, you can see this all around you. This is what I'm focusing on. Instead of all the shit that's falling away, I'm focusing on all the stuff that's coming in. And only because there's room now, because of what's dissolving and literally crumbling right before our eyes, okay? And this has to do with belief systems, attitudes, opinions, the way we are holding space for each other on this planet. It's all changing, it's all shifting, and it is evolving moment by moment. This is a very exciting time to be alive. I can't stress that enough. So this is a station of transit of our natural, true, organic ascension pathway. And it only can exist because these old timelines and paradigms are falling away. These structures are making room for this to take hold, okay? So the seeds of the crystal body, the crystalline body matrix, which is more of a silicate matrix instead of a carbon-based matrix, this is coming in and activating and integrating, embodying right now. This is happening right now. And I'm going to get more specific with this. So grab some water. I'm going to grab some water because this is going to kind of blow you away a little bit. That's good. But I would like you right here and right now to just move into your higher self embodiment so that you can hear this from your higher heart, because that's specifically what we're talking about here as part of this monadic activation and embodiment, instead of being up here. Okay, just let go of some of the mental chatter for a second. My phone is blowing up right now. Let go of some of the mental chatter. I can finally paste this now. There we go. I just posted Global Reorganization for Ascension Part 1 on my YouTube channel. Bring your energy into the higher heart, meaning this area right about here, okay? In between the heart chakra and the throat chakra. Okay, your tortoise heart, the area just, it's the etheric field around the thymus, okay? And just take a deep breath in. Calm and steady yourself. Let everything else happening around you in your periphery just kind of fall away and be very present with the sound of my voice, okay? So the seeds of the crystal body, they are already planted in your etheric matrix, your, let's just say your entire body, including all of the tissues, the organs, the muscles, the skeleton, the fascia, all of it has an etheric halo because everything exists as an energetic etheric imprint before it becomes more dense in physicality, okay? So there are seeds in that body of you that have already been planted. They're part of your divine human blueprint, and they come to us as part of our birth sequence of coming into a physical body from the etheric when we are born. Okay, so these seeds are already there. They are blooming, they are blossoming, they are awakening, they are activating. This is happening in much of the population. This means many are awakening and many are integrating the soul extensions of their consciousness, what makes up the monadic embodiment. These are being called in, not necessarily consciously, but it's just that we are shifting into a frequency where we are a match for this process now, okay? And so we are calling in these soul extensions of consciousness as they exist in many different timelines of being, okay? You have different soul extensions of you in different timelines of being, okay? And we have different octaves of timelines that we are holding. So what you're calling in are the higher octaves, the higher frequencies, the higher vibrations of the soul extensions of you, calling them in to what you are becoming as a frequency match in the physical, okay? So what is happening with this really is that the crystal heart is being activated in many people. Yes, we're hearing the stories in the news about all the people hoarding and all the people, going into the panic and the worry. But that is systematic and part and parcel of the dissemination of information to keep us in fear, to keep us in panic, to only focus on the stories that show humanity in a harsh light. There are many, many stories, many that I'm sure a lot of you are aware of, that I'm aware of people coming together and acting as neighbors, as stewards of a better vision of humanity, and are actively anchoring this into the planet through their actions and behaviors right now. There's a whole shit ton of this happening too. It's just that the news doesn't have anything to profit by focusing on that, okay? So this etheric field of the crystal heart that's being activated right here, right above the etheric halo around the thymus gland. I'm going to talk about the thymus gland more because the thymus gland is really important right now. So this etheric field around the thymus gland, your crystal heart, what you can do is you can tap this, just like you would do, emotional freedom technique, EFT tapping. Take 2 fingers, doesn't matter which hand, and tapping on the thymus gland, the higher heart, the crystal heart. And inhale deeply as you do it. So let's just do it together right now. The more you do this, the more the fear of this unknown sense of activating, embodying more of the monadic embodiment, the soul extensions of you coming home to roost, so to speak. This might feel abnormal, it might feel funny in the body and makes you go into fear, and you're going to confuse it or conflate it with the fear that's spreading as much of a virus on the planet as the coronavirus is. It's not the same. It's just your body is acclimating, or I should say accommodating, assimilating these new energies coming in. What feels new and unfamiliar just can kind of set the body into survival mode. But when you tap on the thymus gently and inhale deeply, when you feel that fear coming, and you don't know if it's more of you coming in, or you don't know if you're feeling into the ego fear and ego identity fear, the separation and survival mode fear on the planet right now and the collective, you don't know what it is, you don't know where this fear is coming from, it doesn't matter. You tap right here. You are activating it further when it's already activating through this natural process in this station of our ascension pathway. But when you are tapping on it, inhaling, focusing your energy on it from your higher consciousness perspective of you, your higher self embodiment of you, what you're doing is not only signaling to the DNA to move into a heal and repair response, but you are signaling to other humans through your DNA in the human collective to stop with the fear, stop with the panic, everybody. It's sending out, I don't know if you ever remember watching the Justice League cartoons when you were a kid and seeing Aquaman, and when Aquaman would speak or communicate to all of the undersea animals and it would send out these waves or ripples. That's kind of what's happening when you are tapping on the thymus, the crystal heart. This is the etheric halo on the crystal heart, which is being activated. You are activating it even more through the sheer force of your will and intention to do so by just doing this and inhaling deeply and focusing on love for the planet. Focus on sending waves of love to the grids of the planet that are still holding some of the fear timelines and keeping people in the grip of survival mode. Okay? And you can just keep doing that while I'm talking because I still have more to say about this. So when you do this, you're also activating and embodying more layers of your monadic matrix, your monadic embodiment. The more of your soul identity you're calling in when you do this. Just by doing this. Just by doing this. Okay? And the more you tune into, tap into this area, the more you are embodying this station of ascension. This level of awareness of your monadic light body. And so this is basically meaning that these are more layers of light that you're calling in. And what is light? Light is information. So you're bringing in more information, more cosmic codes of awareness. You are actively heightening your ascension awareness, okay? So what's really fascinating about this paradox is this, okay? Those who created in a lab, patented, and distributed the coronavirus. Yes, distributed the coronavirus, okay? This is a completely man-made pandemic. This is by design. Again, take from this what you will and leave the rest if this does not jibe with you, okay? But I'm simply speaking from my soul's truth and the guidance that I receive and I absolutely trust without question. This creates a very interesting paradox, okay, with this creation in a lab, this patenting, and this distribution of this coronavirus. What was not seen or couldn't even be understood or imagined by those who would, yes, hold us back from our ascension and have that as their prime objective. They did not know, anticipate, or even imagine that this kind of experience, that this whole thing would lend itself to us embodying this level of awareness in spite of the best efforts on those who would hold us back to have us move back, way back, to take us back in our history, back in our levels of ego self-awareness. And instead, what it's triggering primarily when we move into this monadic embodiment is a reclaiming of more of our higher mind intelligence. This means more of the ego identity and survival mode consciousness falls away naturally, which is also an artificial construct, but that more of the higher mind intelligence would take hold. This is why you are seeing the things that you're seeing in the media, this level of disclosure. It's not that this stuff wasn't there before. It's just that now you're more of a match of a frequency for the truth. So what was veiled to you before in more of your ego identity persona, now that you're in more of this higher mind intelligence persona, your bullshit detector is on hyperdrive. So the things that you're being told, the things that are being shared in the media, the things that are being, rotated 24/7 en masse in social media or mass media structures, you're like, I'm calling shenanigans on that. No way. And why there's so much more information about our accurate historical timelines coming to light, so many things that are happening in real time, disclosures about religious, cultural, governmental, political structures, things coming to light, mass accountability on the planet for people who have done humanity wrong for so long, getting their comeuppance. This is not a coincidence, people, okay? We are no longer blind to the truth, because as this monadic embodiment takes hold, so goes our higher mind intelligence. It is being activated along with the crystal heart. And these two are very much connected, okay? Our higher mind intelligence is very much connected to the heart brain. And if you ask me, the heart brain is really right here. It's the higher heart. It's always been there. But now it's becoming more activated and more online than ever before, okay? So those who created, patented, and distributed the coronavirus didn't know, anticipate, or even imagine that this would actually lend itself to greater awakening in the general population, that there would actually be a stimulation of the thymus gland itself, because when you stimulate the etheric halo around any organ, tissue, and anything in the physical, you're also stimulating the physical. You can't separate the emotional imprint of you and the physical imprint of you. They are mirrors and projections of each other. Okay? So it's stimulating the actual thymus, meaning it's stimulating the immune response. Who's been reading stories about how quickly there is a turnaround in the healing? It's happening in Korea. It already happened in Wuhan. That there's some of the centers that have been set up to treat people with this virus. As quickly as this virus is sweeping through, it is also very quickly moving out. Okay? That is because we are having this increased immune response, because we're all having our thymus stimulated. And your thymus is responsible for producing T cells and increasing your immune response. It's responsible for also purifying the blood. So people's blood on a divine human imprint or blueprint level, the blood is, of course, having an etheric production as well. This is being purified in the crystal and silica matrix of us first, and it's coming into the physical, so that our blood is being purified in the physical. This is fascinating. Is anyone like excited about this? I'm not getting any hearts or any love, okay? So give me some love so you guys are on board with what I'm talking about, or you're excited with what I'm talking about, okay? So it's producing more antibodies in the blood because, you know, this antigen, this virus produces a stimulated immune response because it's activating the thymus, which is being activated in the ethereal first, then the physical, activating the T cells in the etheric, then the physical, activating the blood in the etheric, and then the physical, producing antibodies that are fighting this virus very quickly. As divine humans, we heal very, very quickly. Very quickly. Samantha Bearden, if you're still here, you know what I'm talking about. I'm preaching to the choir. You already know. Because there is this mass triggering of the crystal body, the Christos body, that comes from this blooming of the seeds planted in our crystal higher heart. This is balancing the human and physical body matrix, human physical body matrix with the incoming soul seeds, with the incoming soul layers, to embody more of our divine blueprint. Long story short, this is happening. We are embodying more of our divine human blueprint, our divine human embodiment. The monadic embodiment is a station of awareness that must happen for us to access the next higher octave of the harmonic universe, and it is happening. That's friggin' exciting. So I told you guys if you wanted good news, I was going to give you some. So does anybody have any questions about that? There is so much more I can say about this right now, but I'm still processing information as it's coming in. There will be a part 3, and it's all going to be good news, people. It's all going to be good news. So if you're finding you're not getting good news elsewhere, please watch this space. And I encourage you, because this is on my personal page, if you want to share this with your community, please do. Understand that there are so many things that are really, really positive and wonderful at work that are matching the energies almost perfectly of what people are feeling like they're sacrificing, or what is feeling like people are losing, or what people are feeling like is going away and making them go into panic. There are just as many high frequency processes that are taking hold on the planet that are at energetic match, and therefore can cancel out the fear and the panic and the worry if you are aligned to look for it. Okay? So this means, you know, this time of fear, and I'm going to say this very quickly before I sign off, this time that is, you know, signaling so many fear responses in people. For those of us who are on, let's just say, or trying to navigate the higher end of the emotional spectrum and stay in our light, anchor the light, be thought leaders in a responsible way, be way showers, energy healers in a very responsible way, where we are taking some, you know, some real pains to help others through this process of awakening. There's a lot of people waking up on the planet, and it is our job to be stewards of those people and to, you know, kind of treat those folks with kid gloves. Even though sometimes we want to reach out and slap people or smack people. Yes, this does happen with those of us who are spiritually woke, or, you know, feeling like we have some spiritual responsibility to lead the planet forward. Sometimes we still want to smack people or shake people, right? Doesn't mean we act on it, but it still means that, hey, at the end of the day, we're human. We have these impulses. We have these feelings. But to those that are aware of this happening, you know, it feels odd. It feels abnormal. It feels like living in the twilight zone. You know, heck, even those of us who are a little more evolved on the spiritual scale, we feel like we're living in the twilight zone. So they suddenly have, these people that are waking up and don't have this prior knowledge or, you know, a way to articulate what's happening to them, they suddenly have this enhanced knowing, but they don't know what to do with it. They think they're going crazy, you know, and that's why we as healers, we need to be aware of the bigger picture. And that's why I'm talking with you guys and having these discussions, is because it's a reminder to constantly pull back and like, let's look at the bigger picture of what's happening with everybody on the planet right now. Not just those who are just directly around us, or those we see in the post office or the grocery store that we want to shake or slap. You know, let's look at really what's going on. What's the bigger picture here? What's the bigger story? What's the larger narrative, right? What's really happening? And how can we be there to help those who are waking up and have no idea what to do next? Because for them, they may feel like they're going mad, or like they're going into more ego fear, you know, more than there is already on the planet because of the pandemic. They may feel like they're going into even more separation, and they may cloister themselves or isolate themselves. We don't want this, okay? We want to move towards inclusion rather than exclusion. And while there is a major, major push in propaganda behind exclusion right now, I am not drinking that Kool-Aid. I am all about inclusion. That doesn't mean I'm going around and licking people's faces and touching them and going, like that. It means pulling back and seeing the big picture. And how can I include more people? And, you know, speak to them where they're at about what's going on and tell them what to do next, so they don't feel like they're going crazy, so they don't self-isolate or self-exclude even more than they're being told to. Because people are internalizing this in ways that aren't necessarily good for their emotional imprint of being. For a lot of people, this feels like punishment. We don't want that, right? We want inclusion, okay? And this makes people feel like they have to back into a corner and go into those lower forms of 3D consciousness, survival consciousness. We don't want that. We don't want that. We are moving into the next octave of the higher harmonic universe, but it is a collective movement. Yes, of course, this is happening to you individually, of course. But this is a collective movement into higher mind intelligence. This is why we are questioning so much. This is why we are seeing so much. This is why we are having our bullshit detector revved up so high. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's at 11, right? It's because we're more of a frequency match, more than ever before, for truth. And I'm talking about soul's truth here, truth with a capital T. And for seeing our human collective history and our future timelines, like our future projections of ways of being based on where we're at right now. We're seeing this with a lot more clarity, because we're seeing it without the shrouding of the lower ego personality consciousness. Does this make sense? Does this resonate for you guys? Okay. So one more thing about fear, and I think I forgot what I was going to say. I forgot what I was going to say. If I think of it, I'll put it in the comments. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to read some of the comments here. Yes, it is exciting. Timelines and grid lines are glowing. Yes, and that's what's coming up in level 2 of my Timelines Expanded class, is that we are going to be doing planetary grid work and healing timelines on the planet. A lot of these are already collapsing, but they are creating some rifts in consciousness, and those can be repaired by those who are doing the work of timeline healing and time bending. Thank you so much for sharing. You're welcome. Thanks for being here, Vicky. Yes, it resonates, Yolanda says. And she also says, I'd love to see the historical correlations of the monadic response after pandemics over time. Ooh, I'm sure it happened as you are saying, yet it'd be neat to see how society reemerged like the Renaissance after the plague. So much is being written as we speak, Yolanda. So much is evolving in the moment, second to second, that pulling back on the entire big picture as it's evolving and seeing how that's, let's just say, spanning out into the human collective, it's hard. I mean, I do a lot of work in timelines where I'm looking at potentials of future timelines and their trajectories based on where we're at right now. And I just look at what the bigger feeling is, and I listen to what the bigger message is. This happened to be the one for right now. But our history is being written in profound ways right in this moment, right in this dominant now timeline. That's the collective timeline of the planet that we are sharing resonant-wise in such a powerful and profound way. So much is happening moment to moment. It's hard to harness a lot of these energies, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Courtney says, I've definitely felt an underlying excitement with all of this. I definitely felt like this is so much more of a positive than a negative in many ways. Yes, 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 yes. This is happening for us, not to us. That's an important distinction to make if you find yourself going into that ego fear. How is this happening for us? Even if you don't have the answer. Sometimes going into that place of affirmations, AFFORMATION, instead of affirmations, what you're doing is triggering the subconscious to start looking for deeper answers, okay? And accessing a level of resonance between the subconscious and the higher mind intelligence where they're kind of working together. So when you are asking things like, how is this happening for the betterment of the planet right now? What can I see more of that's showing me that this is happening for the betterment of the planet right now? When you ask questions like that, you're triggering certain responses that evolve past the lower ego mind intelligence. So very exciting stuff. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please feel free to share this with your communities. There will be more. Keep watching this space. And if you haven't watched Global Reorganization for Ascension Part 1, I did put the link in the comments here, so check it out. Bye, everybody. Love and peace and lots of support to you all. Bye-bye.